The recent CPI report that came out last week confirmed expectations of inflation dropping down to 3.4% year over year for the month of May versus the 4.4% that came out in April. Gasoline being less expensive in comparison with previous years was the largest factor for the positive report, and mortgage interest costs were again the largest contributor to the year-over-year inflation, so much so that if you were to exclude its contributing data to the CPI, it would have come in at 2.5%, which puts the Bank of Canada in a predicament of being the largest contributor to inflation with its high interest rates. Inflation is slowly falling, but cost of goods are still expensive, and the largest contributor to the CPI report is the mortgage interest cost, putting the Bank of Canada in a state of seemingly damaging what it's trying to repair. The logic in what seems to be the madness is an attempt to get inflation in all other areas under control, so they can lower rates by 2024/25 when many homeowners will be coming up for renewal on their mortgages. Interest rates have climbed the ladder since April, with at the time uninsured 5-year fixed rates going for give or take 4.5%, with at the time of this recording the best being at 5.25. Further, in the past couple of weeks, I have seen softness in the market, particularly less sales hitting the hot sheets and even less inventory coming onto the market. The Greater Vancouver real estate market is in a peculiar place. The cost of borrowing from rate hikes pushes buyers out, creating less demand. But then the inventory continues to decrease, with homeowners being unwilling to give up their current rate hold, leveling out the playing field. So despite everything that's happened in the past several months, the market has continued to remain hot. We'll see how this plays out in the latter half of the summer, with the expected rate hike coming and what is normally considered a slower time of the season. Back to the macroeconomics, consumer spending, despite the still inflated cost of goods, has also increased by 1% since April. And in a summary of deliberations recently published by the Bank of Canada, they disclosed this was a contributor to their rate hike a few weeks back. Now, I do not have the qualifications to discuss with authority what would be logical for the Bank of Canada to stop and do, with all the particulars needing to be balanced in the economy. But disclosing later in time after backlash from Canadians that consumer spending is a contributor to a rate hike, to me is just weak. The money that is circulating in the economy and being spent by consumers is the historical amount that was created and distributed to Canadians in 2020 and 2021 by the Bank of Canada. In other words, the Fed and the Bank of Canada are now and then the biggest reason for the atrocious dilemma Canadians are facing. And if consumer spending is weighing leverage to hike rates, why not have the Bank of Canada curtail lending or credit with prudential criteria, thereby slowing consumer spending in a concentrated manner where needed, rather than have Canadians in general feel the hurt impacting daily life? To summarize, while inflation is slowly falling, the Bank of Canada is doing a balancing act, trying to crush inflation in time to cut rates for 2024 and 25. And in the meantime, is bringing on the hurt for Canadians, with its rate hikes being the largest contributor to inflation as a whole. The real estate market, having taken off in the past several months, will see a slowdown in the latter half of the summer, already showing softness. What is to come afterwards and appearing beforehand will all be brought to you here. So subscribe if you're looking to stay ahead of the curve.